Well, up until about an hour and 15 minutes ago, I was going to show you something else. And then I got to a problem where there was just too much code when I was working through it. And I was thinking, oh, man. So I know there's a faster, quicker way, but I need to do a little more research on it. So I'm saving that for later.
Okay.
In case you're wondering what that was, it was working on putting parens in after IntelliSense puts a suggestion out for you. That's a method.
Yes.
And it's tricky to do because we're talking about, well, two things make it tricky. One is that there's no event in Visual Studio that says IntelliSense just put a method out. So a fair amount of work scaffolding has to be put in place to get essentially the equivalent of that missing event. Mm-hmm. And then the second thing that's tricky is the text is immediately put out, and now immediately we need to know what it is and where it's coming from. And so I'm confident we can get there. I just need to do a little more research.
Okay,
so
cool.
We're not doing that. Instead, we're going to do a favorite views window. This is something that I've been kind of playing with the idea of thinking it might be useful. I think we're going to do this in two parts. So we'll do part one during this hour and part two during next week's hour. That's what my intention and my belief is my expectation.
Okay.
So during part one, we'll cover the essence of it, which is saving and restoring views, but without actually persisting them. Part two, we'll do persistence and any other kind of cleanup that we feel we need to create for it. It's going to be, the way I envision it is actually both in a standard plugin and a tool window, so we can start with either one and then add the other. I'll just start with a standard plugin for now, and then we'll add a tool window. The reason I want to break them up is because I want to have an action that I can bind to a shortcut that I can pass in a particular name of a view. So I want to be able to name these views, like this is view number 1, or this is my killer view, or whatever it is. I want to be able to have names for the views, be able to bind a shortcut to be able to select a particular view by shortcut if I want to do it. That makes it very flexible. But if I drop an action on a tool window plugin, that action is only going to be available when the tool window is visible. And I want the action to work when the tool window is not visible. So I need a standard plugin to make that part of it work. And then, of course, I need the tool window just to actually view it and interact with it. So we'll do that. We'll call CR favorite views. The CR stands for CodeRush. Click OK. Click OK again. And we'll start with the simple part here, which is to drop an action on. We'll fill it out, and the action name will be called Restore View. And let's see, restores the specified view. You need to give it some parameters. Add a new parameter. We're going to call this view name and name of the view to restore. And what I want to do, I'm kind of previewing next week, but I want to store. So as you're working with it, all the views will be associated with a particular project or maybe a solution. And so I want, when we open up a new solution, for the views associated for that to then be loaded up into the tool window, and then we can choose from those views and restore.
Okay, Mark. Can we take just a little step back here, because you keep using the word view, and I'm kind of thinking text view. Are we literally drawing an analogy there, or do we have some kind of other abstract concept that you've got in mind?
This is why you are so awesome, Rory, because I just often assume everybody knows what I'm thinking about because I'm not paying attention to the origins, right, the start to end in terms of how I got here. So yes, Rory, great question. So from my perspective, a view is a list of files that are open. It is a file among those lists that is activated. It is the selections in all those views. And it's the top line number of all those views.
Okay, cool.
So that's what's going on. So the idea is I can have a whole bunch of files open, and I can say, this is what I want to work with, and I want to remember this, and then go to another view, and then come back to the original one again when I'm ready to go back and kind of work in that.
Excellent.
In those files. Oh, suddenly now we're interested. It's interesting all of a sudden. Tell your friends. It's not too late to join to get in here. All right. So here we go. So I'm adding a parameter called view name. So this is going to be the name of the view. So again, a view is going to consist of a lot of files that are going to be open. Click OK. And we'll double click that just to get an event handler in there, and we're going to do the usual where we're just not going to write any code yet. We'll add that code later. Then I want to add a tool window to this. So I'm going to right click my plugin, I'm going to choose add new item, and I'm going to click on DX Core, that's our underlying engine, and I'm going to say I want a new tool window, and we'll call this the favorite views. And this is the text that shows up on the tab right here. So for example, toolbox or properties. So we want to keep it short. I'm going to maybe call this a fav views or something like that. Okay, to keep it short. The reason we want it short is because it'll be truncated if there are a whole bunch of these side by side. Okay, or maybe we could rename it views or something like that. But I'll call it favorite views. So here's my tool window. I created an icon out here. I've been recently influenced by the game Portal 2, and so let's go grab an image out here from that. And it's over here, and ignore some of those other images in there. There it is right there. So I've got a companion cube icon here for our favorite views.
Nice.
And we'll click on that. And so now we have this. Now normally when you do this, you can also set a background color that's going to be invisible, but I actually want to keep it white all the way around. We'll do that for now, and maybe if we want to change it later, we can do that. Actually, it looks like it's selected the background color is white all around anyway, so it's going to maybe get rid of that. But you can change that if you want. So on here, let's drop some controls. I want to get a couple buttons. I want a button here, and I want a list box underneath it, and I want throw a label out here. And we may not get all of this functionality working today. We'll see how we do with time on this. But the idea is what I want to be able to, this button is going to add a view to the list. Clicking on this will show the name of the view here, and we can just type in a new name there, and then that will show up over here. That's kind of the idea. Let's throw a label down here that says something like Control plus click a view to load it, or restore it is maybe better. Like that. Let's grab this button, move it. Whoops. Grab this button, move it down here. Let's start anchoring some things here. Anchor this thing on the bottom. So I wanted to do the same with this one too. Anchor that on the bottom. Anchor this one there. Over here, let's anchor this one on the right so it expands out. Let's give this some meaningful text. So that's the name. This is going to be delete selected view. Actually, let's call this one save current view. So when we hit the Save Current View button, it's going to take the current set of files and put it in this list box right here. Give this a meaningful name. Let's views, and let's give this a meaningful name as well. btn save current view, like that. And btn delete selected, view, got an extra ed in the end there. Okay, let's see what we got for events on these. Okay, that we can, let's just drill in here and let's use CodeRush to get rid of that, to clean that up. Oh, do I not have CodeRush loaded? I do. That's interesting. There we go. Oh, I can't, can I not unhook the event handler because it's, I was trying to use the unhook event handler, but it's hooked up to 2 different places, and I'm wondering if that's why it's not available. Let's take it from one and see if it's now available. There it is. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So the reason I deleted those is because I wanted to get good names on those. Now I know where I'm coming from. So double click there, double click there. Let's see how we're doing here. It's not bad. Move that up a little bit. I'll do that. although I'm not anticipating like really long names, but. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. I need a double click there, so when the selected index is changed, we'll get it, and also double click here when the text is changed. So we have text change, selected index change, we have a click event for save current view, we have a click event for delete current view.
Those more familiar with Mark's particular style can see that he's putting all of the event handlers in play, and any second now, he's just going to launch the plugin before there's any code actually written, aren't you?
So I am totally smiling right now, Rory, because I'm actually about to vary from that. Normally, you're absolutely right. And, well, the reason why is because we need something to hold the data. Okay.
Okay.
And I mean, we could run right now and just like test and work with it. We really need something to hold the data. So let's do that. What I'm envisioning is a class called a SuperView or something like that. And the SuperView is going to hold like the list of all the documents, and it's going to hold which is the active document, and all the documents themselves are going to be essentially custom class that we create as well. The document class is going to have the name of the document in it and details on the selection, the top line, things like that. So based on that, let's see. When we have save current view, we want to come in here and we want to do something like this. New SuperView. Yeah, I as soon as you started talking, Rory, I was like, oh man. So
the one time not doing it. There I go.
Differently, right? Exactly. So I want to create a new SuperView. I'm going to declare. I'm just using CodeRush to declare this code. Inside your SuperView.active file, I guess we'll call it, is equal to, and then we'll come in here and we'll say CodeRush.documents.active. This is our active document, and then I think we have like a full name, so that's the full name of it. Let's make sure this is not null because it could be a situation where there's no active documents. Close active document. If not null, then we can set that value right there. And then what we want to do is we want to go through all the documents. And so if we're going through CodeRush.documents, I think I've got something in here called all documents. There we go. Notice the others that are in here. We have all project documents, all project text documents. So a document is essentially anything that's got a file tab up in here. Okay.
Yeah.
A text document is something that's got a file tab and it has text inside of it. So I could do this only with text documents if I want to. I can also, the all project documents right here, by the way, this is a collection of all documents in the current project, so the project that's active. And then solution documents is all from the current solution, and then again all solution text documents.
So what's the distinction then, Mark, between all documents and all solution documents?
Oh, well, you can open up a document that's not part of the solution.
Oh, of course you can.
So
yes, okay.
I'm going to stick with all documents for at least this implementation of it. If somebody wants to change this code, we'll put this out on the community site, and you're welcome to change this or play around with this. So I'm going to go with all documents for now, cutting that to the clipboard, typing in FE for the for each template.
That's a lovely little template, that one.
Let me just rename this to document itself. And so now we have, down here we've got a document. I can do something like this. I can say document as text document to see if it is in fact a text document. Hit the CodeRush refactor key, declare local, come down in here and say something like if, and then NN for not null because it's on the clipboard, and then B for braces, and there. Now I can write some code for if it is a text document. But regardless of whether it's a text document or not, I want to be able to do something like this. I want to say like new, like a doc view is what I think I'll call this, right? Like that. Declare local doc view, and I want to say doc view dot file name, I guess, equals document dot full name. So now we'll be able to open this up at the right time. And at that point,
our doc view class is going to be our abstract data class that captures just the pieces that we need regarding this individual document that we're going to persist later on.
That's right. Well, we'll persist both of these, right? The SuperView is going to have a collection of the doc views. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these to here as we get into the right point in here. So let's go. So we're setting file name, and then we want to come in here and we want to say, okay, if we are in a text document, then we can go, there's other things we can do that are interesting. Like, for example, text document dot active view, we can go in there, declare local for that. Notice CodeRush adds the semicolon and all that. It's very nice. Okay, we can do this. We can say if this is not null, the active view is not null, then we can come in. We can do ActiveView.topLine, and we can say, okay, docView.topLine is equal to ActiveView.topLine. Like that. And we can say docView. Let's see, selection anchor is equal to ActiveView.selection anchor position right here, which is an int. So with regard to selection, you have an active and an active position and an anchor position. The active position is the part that's flashing the caret, the I-beam caret. The anchor is on the other side. So with this selection, on the right side with the flashing caret, that's the active position. The anchor is on the left. I could then reverse the selection as well, right? And so now on the left, I have the active position. On the right, I have the anchor. So with that said, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say selection dot anchor position. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is this. There are two ways to represent an anchor. One is using line and offset. So that corresponds to what you're seeing here, line 56, column 62, or actually it's over here, char 56. Boy, actually I should explain the difference between these two. So column, that's the actual physical column you're at, the number of spaces across from here that you're at. I'm 62 spaces over from the left side, over right here. Char is the number of actual physical characters on the line. So I've got a couple tabs at the beginning of this line here. That's why there's a discrepancy between these two. The char one, the CH, corresponds to offset. And then line, of course, corresponds to the line. These are also they're indexed by 1. At least line number is, and I think offset is 2, Rory. I believe so, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. So we're pretty sure both of these are offset by 1. From our perspective, we're just saving it and restoring it, so it doesn't really matter what they are. But so the two ways are, one using line and offset. The other one is just using an absolute position from the beginning of the file. Okay, and so I'm going to use this because it's just a single int and it's a little easier to store. So one thing I should mention here is, based on this, is that if we save a view with a particular set of selections and character positions, and we then proceed to make changes to the files, and then we open them up, the selections will be in the wrong spots. And so maybe we'll fix that next week. That's something we can maybe work on or talk about for next week on how to improve that. But for now, at least, we'll just use anchor position and we'll store it that way. So selection anchor is equal to that dot anchor position. Let's duplicate the line of code and come down here and we'll call it selection active, and we'll say that's equal to the active position, like that. And let's do this. So we want to make sure this is not null, so we'll introduce local replace all. We'll call this the active selection, and we'll say if they're not null, select both those, hit the letter B to embed those in a block. And we have that. And I think, what else? So we've got top line, we've got selection, we have the name of the document. Oh, we need to know if the document is active or not. And so what I want to do, we've done that right here. We've saved active file, so we have done that already. I have a feeling we haven't added to SuperView yet. We need to come down in here and we need to say, right about here, we need to say SuperView dot documents, or doc views, we'll call them, dot add, and then pass in not SuperView, but doc view. Oops. Okay, so that's the code I want to write in advance. Now let's start declaring some classes. So we'll put the code here, caret here. We will choose declare class and check out what we get. This is part of the new deep declare feature that's in CodeRush 11.1. We're shipping it like this week. Whoa, the cake is a lie. Who said? Rob Connery just said the cake is a lie. Came through on my Twitter right now. Does that mean Rob Connery's in here with us watching this? What the heck's going on? Maybe not. All right, so anyway, sorry, I get easily distracted, kids. So this is part of Deep Declare, new feature in CodeRush 11.1 that essentially scans a lot of code, right? I just put the caret here on doc view. It looked at file name. It saw that assignment. It sees top line. It sees selection anchor. It resolves all of this other code out here and gets me selection active, selection anchor, both of type int, top line of type int, file name of type string, and it gives me a constructor. Okay.
Nice.
It's beautiful. Okay. Now let's come down here to SuperView, do the same thing. Come in here, declare class, and look at what it gives me here. All I have to do is just come in here and initialize doc views. I'll say doc view is equal to.
I particularly like the deduction that we're going to have an I list of doc view. That's particularly nice.
And look, Rory, I'm actually remembering the shortcut for what I've copied to the clipboard. So I've got doc view on the clipboard. Here's how I figured it out and how I'm remembering it.
Okay.
On the hold on a second. Actually, I think I've got got an illustration I can bring up for you. Give me 1 second here so that I don't have to describe it with so much detail. Here we go. Bringing up my. You'll recognize this image from not last week. Was it last week? Maybe it was last week. Because it was. It was last week our first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so here's how I'm remembering this, right? So when I hit the dot, I have a choice of this slash or this slash. One of these two gives me the class name, and one gives me the clipboard. Here's how I remember it. This one is really close to my dot, and so is my class declaration that I'm in. And so if I do this plus that one, the close one by, I'll get the class name. And then I imagine my clipboard farther away, and so I go out and click that one. And that's how I finally got those.
Okay, that's good. That works on a UK keyboard as well.
Yeah, I think it works on most keyboards. But anyway, so now I'm going to hit the space bar, and what? It didn't work because it's not on the clipboard. Oh, I know why it didn't work, because CodeRush is sitting around. I was spending so much time there, CodeRush parsed it and thought it was actual code as opposed to a template. So at any rate, there's our initialization. So now DocViews has got something inside of it. Active view, SuperView. Let's move these out to their own files, and then let's run. Move type to file, hit escape to get back, and move type to file, and then hit escape to get back. And by the way, there's the title that we put in right there. If we change this for our tool window, that's how we can change the text that shows up down here.
Yeah.
And I think I have a sense we're kind of done at this point. Well, I guess was selected in Exchange. We could put some code, but yes, actually, you know what? We are, because what I want to do is I want to do something. I want to actually make one more method in SuperView, which is a method called restore that actually goes through and restores it. I guess I could just do this. Let's go into SuperView. We'll drill into that, and then I'll just create the new method here, and then we'll write the code when we get in here. We'll call this restore, and make it public, and we'll add a Boolean parameter that says close all active docs first. Okay? And now I'm going to run. I'm so excited, Rory. Do you think it's going to work?
I think we're going to do pretty well.
I don't know. I don't think the cake is a lie. I've had the cake. The cake is good.
Depends which cake you're talking about. I had cake yesterday.
Did you? Like a birthday party or something over there?
Well, as it happens, yes. My daughter turned 5, so I had spare cake.
Nice.
But,
no, I want to create a T-shirt that says "spare cake" on it. That's what I want. I want to wear that T-shirt, spare cake. Anyway, all right. So here's what I'm doing. I'm opening up a big solution inside of Visual Studio. This is our diagnostic solution. It has a number of diagnostics plugins in it, including the often used Expressions Lab. And I'm actually working on something really cool for that I don't know if I'm going to turn into one of these or just release it. But it is the ability, because right now, I'm just going all over the place, but since we've got a bunch of plugin devs out there, people interested in plugin development. Oh, Expression Lab's not up, so I can't really show it. But if you remember the Expression Lab, it's basically a code generator. So the idea is I select some nodes in the Expression Lab and I say generate code to either find this structure or to generate this structure. So I don't have to go through that manually anymore. So I think that's going to be very useful. We'll talk about that in an upcoming session. Okay, so let's get some files open, and let's also go in here and go into Tool Windows. Save views. Why don't our great image did not show up? So I'd have to look into why that didn't happen. I wonder if I may have violated the color count or something like that, but it did not show up. That's unfortunate. We may not. I may not work on that, solving that this time. But okay, so we've got 2 of these opens. Let's do this. Let's scroll down to the structures match. So we'll get it so it starts to be on screen for Element Finder. I'll double click there. Let's go to the Expression Lab window, and let's go to the window show right here. and let's select this line of code right here, or maybe just put the caret right there between for and active like that. We'll make element finder the piece that is active. Let's save the current view. Oh, come on. Do I not have a breakpoint in there? Maybe I'm missing a breakpoint in there. Let's see what we're missing in here. Favorite views. Boy, is this way too big or what? Okay. Selected as change. Where's my save? Oh, here's my save. So I'm creating it, but guess what I forgot to do? Well, I forgot to actually add the SuperView to the list box. So that's why we're not seeing anything. We'll set a breakpoint down, we'll fix it. So here we go. Save current view. Come down in here, and down at the end we want to come down here and we're going to say list views.add, or items.add. We want to pass in the SuperView we just created, right? And I don't know, let's just run it. And so there, our view is there. I clicked it, now we're in selected index change. So I said if the control key was down, so I'm going to type in if. This is if you ever have to check to see if the control key is down or the shift key is down or the alt key is down, there's some awesome templates in CodeRush that make this easy. CKD for control key down. It gives you that.
Nice.
Okay.
Very
That's awesome.
good.
AKD for alt key down, right there. SKD for shift key down. Really nice stuff. I can't tell you how much I do this, like in development, where I say, well, if I want this key down, I want it to have certain behavior. So CKD for control key down. If that's the case, then I want to come down here and I want to say list views dot selected item as a super view. Well, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do a toString so that we actually would put the name of the super view out. And I also forgot to give it a name property as well. So we'll have to stop running and make those changes since they changed the interface. So I'll come in here, I'll say let's declare a local. We'll call this SuperView, and then we'll say if not null, then we're going to say SuperView.restore, like that. And let's go inside the restore. We need a Boolean to pass in there. We're going to say true, close all active docs first. Let's do a tab in there. Already I'm thinking, I should have done an enum instead. It's so much better at the calling instead of just passing in true. You know what I mean, Rory? Instead of passing in true, I'd rather pass in an enum that says, you know,
something more
document behavior,
yeah.
Close all, or something like that. What, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, effectively, you're making a more descriptive parameter value.
Exactly.
So you can determine exactly what the meaning of it is, because true, 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 you have like 6 different things, and they could all be true, and you wouldn't know which ones were meaning what.
In the future, I'll watch this video and I'll laugh when I type the true there. I'll be like, oh.
Alternatively, for now, you could switch to named arguments, couldn't you? That's one of the ones we've added recently.
I could do that as well. We could do named arguments as well. Although I'm still a bigger fan of enums than named arguments even.
That's fair.
All right, so let's run. We should get to the restore. Oh, we're not in restore yet. I have to control click on it. So control click on it. Now we're in restore. And so let's do this. Close all active docs first. So if close all active docs first, then. So inside window, there's a command that says close all documents. When I invoke this command, there's actually a way to hook into this and see it and see what the name of that command is. I will show you this in 1 or 2 of our sessions in the future on how to do this, where we actually create our own tools. For now, I'm going to do it kind of the hard way. I'm going to go into Tools, go into Options, and click on Keyboard, and I'm going to search for the word Close. And I see file close all but this, close project solution, but I don't see close all but this is close, but I don't see a close all. Let's keep scrolling down, and I see, there it is, window.close all documents. Oh boy, I wish I could right-click here. I'm right-clicking now, nothing's happening. I wish I could right-click and say copy this command.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that. So we're going to have to type this in, window.close all documents. All right, so then what I want to do is I want to execute that command. So I'm going to say CodeRush.command.execute window.close all documents. I think that was it. Okay? That's going to close everything that we currently have up. Then, let's see, we have our super view, we have our doc views, we have an active file. Let's go through our doc views first. So we'll say doc views, where is it? Oops, that's not what I want. Doc views, that one. Cut that to the clipboard, FE for each. Oh, it didn't get it. Why didn't it get it? That's interesting. So for each doc view, and we'll call this doc view like that. And inside of doc views for each of those, we're going to say doc view dot, well, let's see what it's got. We've got a file name. So we need to open a file. So let's go into CodeRush dot, let's see, where is it? Documents dot activate. Let's see what's going on. Activate gives focus to specified document. Okay, that's going to take a document. We don't want that. Let's go back into, let's go into file instead. Dot activate. Activates the code file. Specified name of the code file is not available. It is opened. So we're going to say that, pass in the file name. So that's going to open the file and activate it. We're going through each one of them. At the very end of this, we probably want to call that one more time to activate the one that we said was the active file. Right here, active file. Like that.
Yep.
And I want to check to see if that's not null and not string.empty. And then I want to hit the CodeRush effect key, so you do that. Sorry, I know that this is much faster, or people think it's much faster just type that in. But for me, it's faster just type in NN and then use our refactoring to get there. Okay, so if it's not null or empty, we're going to activate it. I'm doing that because I'm not sure if this is going to throw an exception or not. I just want to make sure we got something real here. There's the close. There's this. Now, at this point, activate, I'm pretty sure, returns a document. So we can just use CodeRush to come in there and declare a local. Call this the activated doc, like that. And now inside the activated doc, we can come in there and we can say, we can do this as a text document, and then hit CodeRush key to declare local, and if not null, so NN gives me that because I copied the text document was on the clipboard. I just typed in NN in here like that to get that. And so now if the text document is not null, then we can go into the text document, get the active view, again go in here, declare local, then come in here if not null, the active view is not null. Now we can come in here, I think there's a set top line, there it is right there. We can pass in the doc view dot top line. Okay, so there's the top line, so it should scroll it down. Next, dot selection, whoops, selection dot set, and we can pass in source range. We can pass in 2 source points. That's the anchor and the active. And what else? We can pass in the anchor positions, 2 ints.
Nice.
And that's what we
have stored. Yeah.
That's what we have. So docview dot, the first one is anchor. So selection anchor goes there. And then docview dot selection active. What else is in docview? File name, top line. So that's everything. So we've used, so that's everything right there. So let's semicolon there. And let's do I run now? What else do I need to do? Let's just run and see what happens. Well, at this point, I think nothing will happen because they already, nothing, so let's edit. Adding a using namespace, oh, what do we add? Oh. All right, let's get this out of here, see if we can, yeah, it's painful. I just don't want to run it again, that's why I'm doing this stuff. We'll clean it up in a second, I hope. How messy is this going to be? All right, let's see if we can go now. Nice. Okay, so let's close these down. Boom, boom. And let's control-click on this. So we got structures match here. This one failed. Expression Lab window failed. Right? Let's get a delete from here. Let's delete the selected view. Do we have a breakpoint set? We do not. Let's go set it. I think we might have to do something tricky over there on the to make those selections be restored. Let's find out why. Let's drill into it. We'll find out why. So delete selected view. Boom. We'll get that working, and we'll say what is it? List views dot items dot remove at list views dot selected index. Let's just do a quick sanity check here to make sure selected index is greater than or equal to 0. let's see how that works when we run it. All right, that looks like it works. So let's come in here. We've got a selection here, a selection here. Let's step through the saving part to see that we're actually saving two different sets of selections on this. So here's where we didn't save. Here's our selections. Let's set a breakpoint right there and see what happens. So save current view. There's one. Ooh, only one comes in. I wonder if it's because this thing is not active. Let's see if I may have a logic error in here. Let's come here, grab that, delete it.
So the inactive file doesn't have an active view.
That may be
views are not active.
What's going on. So let's see what's happening here. This text document is the Expression Lab window. Let's run it again, and now we're at the element finder. And let's see, step. It's null. Oh, do we have another way to get to the view? I want that view. Do I have first view? Let's see what first view gives us. I don't know if it's going to get us anything, actually. I have a feeling it may not still. Maybe. Please. Oh, I'll take it. There we go. First view. Okay, so
small substitution.
I just learned something about active view. Okay, so active view doesn't give you anything if it's behind. So we're going to grab first view instead. And what does that mean? Do we have what, other view in here? Do we have second view? Secondary view. Gotcha. For when we have a split like this, right? When I come in here and do that. That's the secondary view. So I'm just storing only first views. And the reason why is we do have ability to split, but I don't know. We don't have, at this point, I don't think we have the ability to specify what position it should be at. So the splitting is not something that we're setting positions on yet. At least I couldn't find anything when I was looking at this. All right, so we'll do first view instead. Let me rename this to simply first view so we're very distinct about this. So first view, let's now try this. Let's come back up here, set next statement, and F10. We have something now that we can work with and run it. And so there's a second breakpoint, run it. Okay, so now let's close these two, close, and now work. So there's that and that. Okay, I'm happy. Did that work like we expected? Let's try one more time. Sure. Let's make element finder. Let's just change this around. Is matched is here. Let's come over here and we're going to grab focused element. We'll scroll so like focus element's near the top. Yeah, let's do this instead. Let's make match, and we will just put the caret right there to the right of the dot, and we're going to make Expression Lab window the one that has focus.
Why don't we scroll the selection off the window in one of them?
Okay, good idea. Let's
so
open
it's
some
not
more
actually
things.
visible.
Let's open some more things too. Let's open. Let's view this code and view this code. Just open a few more things here. And so I'll select all of that, and Rory wants to have some of the selection run off screen, so we can do that there. So CodeRush generated code there. So kind of everybody remember a different file, and we'll see if this is all working like we're expecting. So that one's off screen. Element finder is the one right there with caret before name, and there. So I'm going to make this one the active one. We'll delete this view, save this to current view, close all documents, and now hit control click on that. Element finder is the one that's open. It's the last one though. The order is somehow different. That's a little bit odd.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
I'm not sure if we can fix the order, but let's look at all these. So this is right? That's where we wanted that caret.
Yep.
This one is right. That one is pretty close. It looks a little bit off, but it's pretty close. I think it was like more like there, like up near there. So Event Lab plugin, I wonder if it's because the act of setting the selection may scroll. I think that's what's going on, Rory. I'm pretty sure that the act of setting selection
so try to bring as much of the selection on screen as possible.
Yeah, and I think there's a way to do it so it doesn't scroll. I just don't remember what that is. And then
well, we could set the top line after we set selection.
That is, you are a smart boy. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so and I'm just like thinking, did I just insult him by saying boy? So let's let's put a breakpoint here, And let's fix that. Let's do that exactly like what Rory is saying. So I'm going to click on the control click. It should close all the files. And wait, why didn't my breakpoint get reached? That doesn't make sense. Oh, that's in Save Current View. Sorry, I don't want that. I want it in Restore, which is over in SuperView. That's where I want to do it. Where's my top line? Set top line. There's the selection. Yep, exactly, Rory. That's exactly what we want to do. Okay, so let's change the order of these. So now it doesn't matter. Now run. Now, when we come over where it was this one, there. See that?
There we go.
It's off screen like we want. So there we go. That's pretty cool. So now what's neat about this is now I can come in here and I can say, okay, let's close all these windows and let's bring up some other files that are more interesting to us. Like let's go into the text buffer lab window and let's do a view code there and the report dialog, view code there, and the run.
This is going to make one of our slightly a little omission that we've made it a little bit more obvious in that they're both called the same thing at the moment.
Right here.
Yeah.
You're talking about, yeah, we just remember first and second.
Minor thing,
so if we want to go to first, we control click on that. And there we are. We want to go to second, control click on that.
It's great. It's a virtual solution within a solution. It's a kind of a workbench.
Yeah.
That which you've been working on for this particular portion of time. It's great. I can see ourselves using this a lot.
I'm going to close this down and let's fix the naming so the naming works. At this point, the coolest part of it is done. I almost feel like I'm letting everybody down by going to the next part. But let's close this down. We'll do the naming, and maybe I'll do a little bit of a preview into the storage, into how we might store this out and make use of the storage. So to deal with the naming, we need to go over into our SuperView. We need to add a new string property of type name, or I mean a type string called name. And so that is the name of the SuperView. We need to also deal with some, we also need the toString override inside of here. So we'll type in TS, give a toString override, and then we're going to say return name, like that. And so now when it's inside of the, let me move this down to the other methods here.
Do you know, Mark, I have never seen the toString template expand.
Awesome. I've just shown Rory something he's never. Rory has been like
brilliant.
Rory has been showing me the features of CodeRush that we're shipping that I didn't know about, and you know, he's got about 2 or 3 on me, and I have nothing that I've shown him that he hasn't seen yet. Did you know about control key down, Rory?
Say again. Oh no, the earlier
tips. Did you know about the CKD templates?
The CKD, that was brand new on me.
So maybe I am actually showing you things.
Now. This is good.
Yeah, maybe I am actually showing you things you don't know, and you're simply acting like you know them by being quiet. And that's just making me have a great deal of anxiety. Maybe I should just be quiet the next time you show me something I don't know. Like, yeah, very interesting. I knew that already. All right, so let's do this. We've got the toString override right there. There are actually some other cool overrides that you may not know about. Op equals, OP, and then equal sign. We'll give you we'll give you all of this for creating implicit operator overloads, and then you also have op equals for getting the implicit conversion. Okay, right there. So
I must confess to not having done a lot of operator overloading in the first place, but that is pretty cool. That's a lot of code that you don't need to have to remember now.
Exactly. This is what's known as the Wednesday CodeRush feature workshop Smackdown. And Rory just got Smackdown right there, folks. All right. So, so anyway, all right. So I feel like I'm getting in more trouble rather than less as we move on. Okay, so we've got name, we've got the override there, so that should fix the list and how it appears. The next thing I want to do is I want to change the name. And I think I can actually do that while we're running. I think I have all of everything I need to do that and make that happen. So let's just run it again and we'll cross our fingers. Oh, wait, something else. I wanted to see why my image didn't work. Look at that. The image is like, it's not, it didn't take it. It doesn't like faves. It says it's saved there, but I think it doesn't like it. Let's see. What's our help here? Let's see. It doesn't say specifically. There used to be a requirement that said it has to be like, 256 colors, but only 16 real ones could be used. So I'm gonna try just running again and see what happens. And if we still dies, we'll have to edit that icon a bit. Speaking of which, I'll open it up in my image editor and we'll make a variation of that. All right, so sorry, I was over on the image editor. So let's go in. We're going to grab Diagnostics 2010. Oh, and we have no persistence, so we'll have to create those views again. Now persistence is starting to become a bit of a problem. So we may, let's see how much time we have. We have about 15 minutes. Maybe we'll dive into the persistence problem while we're here, see if we can solve that. So let's save this current view. So we'll click on that. What's happening? Why is it non-responsive? What's going on? Out of memory exception. Uh-oh. This box contains too many items. What is going on? I just stopped the run. There's obviously some recursion here. Oh, what did I really hit F1 or something to help it? SuperView doc views.add, items.add. The only changes I made were over inside of here. ToString is equal to name. Name gets from there. What's going on? We can step through the code, I suppose. We could try doing that too as well. I'm trying to find where the if we have recursion here or not. Let's go get the find the save current view. And there were no other changes I made here. Set a breakpoint, and we will we'll run it and see what happens. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what is happening that I am not getting.
It is a little strange. I would not think we'd added very much at that point.
Let's see what happens with our tab. Is it still bad? Yeah, it's still missing. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Set a breakpoint, step through, and try to figure out what's going on. All right. Just set a breakpoint there, run to there. Oops, there we go. There's my call to add, and it's not returning. I just said step over that.
Ah, right. Mark, is this to do with the definition of all documents? Is it potentially about to add all documents in the entire project, regardless of whether or not they're actually open?
No, I don't think so. The error is listbox contains too many items.
Indeed. So if there are several thousand files available,
but we're only adding a single entry right here.
Was that just one?
Yeah. We're entering just SuperView. It's got doc views. Only got one entry in it anyway. Even if we were adding all the files, listbox can handle, like, you know, tens of thousands of entries. So it's not that. I really think so. Maybe I'm understanding something fundamentally wrong about the ToString override here. This is really crazy odd to me. Really crazy odd. Let's just set a breakpoint here. I wonder if we can. I don't know if we can run. So here we are in this. We're in ToString here. Now, that's really weird. So see what's going on. See if there's an internet exception. There's not. Okay, well, I'm a little bit stumped. If anybody is watching has any clues as far as what's going on how that change could have affected it, let's do this. Let's just...
We've got something coming through in the questions suggesting that name itself might be null and that null is not a valid identifier, perhaps?
Ooh,
for
I like
purposes
that.
of adding.
That might be exactly what it is. That sounds like it's much more...
So it's a very, very poor error.
Who suggested that?
That is Eric. I'm just making things a little wide. I cannot.
Eric,
really...
genius. Thank you.
Eric,
I bet that's exactly it. I bet you that's exactly it right there. All right, so let's do this. Let's run this. I bet that's exactly what it is. It's totally null, and the ToString is I'm sure it's not the right. You know, Yeah, usually I'm pretty good at that. I'm like pretty good at asking the question, is the error message we're seeing really the error? And I didn't ask it this time, so that is a good job. All right, so let's open up diagnostics. Let's dock this while we're opening it. Come on. Visual Studio does not want me to dock while it's opening. All right, here we go. Okay. So let's save the current view. Let's kill that breakpoint. Let's kill that breakpoint. Ha! Genius! Genius, Eric. Eric, you get a T-shirt. Send Rory an email, or send me an email, and we will send you a T-shirt wherever you are. All right, so this is unnamed. So now what I want to do is give it a new name. So I'm going to type in the word, or start typing something in. Let's get our breakpoint there. Text box changed. All right, we'll come in here and say, close. Whoops. All right, so there we go. So now what we'll do is we will say, we want to basically, I think we've got code already up here that says this. So SuperView equals that. If SuperView is not null, then we can come in and we can say SuperView.name equals textbox1.text. That will give us a name. That should change the it. Okay, so we'll call this new name, like that. Interesting, it's not refreshing over here though. Let's create a new view and see what happens when we refresh. Looks like we're going to have to manually call refresh on that. And let's open up the MATLAB window, code highlight window, and
perhaps the text change event only fires when you leave the focus of the text box in which it was.
No, it's firing. I'm sure it's firing. It just hasn't reviewed it. I bet you when I choose Save Current View, this will be updated to the new name. So let's do now Save Current View. Oh, it didn't. Oh, interesting. If we close it down and open it up, is that going to give me a refresh that I want? Come on. The name is clearly being set. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. Call this second.
I think when we make Save New View, we instance a new SuperView rather than referring to the existing one in the text box.
That's when we save, but right here in the text change, we are getting the one in the text box. So now when we do this, it's now equal to S. So the SuperView name is.
But I don't think we have a refresh as such, do we, for the list?
Yeah, that's what
I'm. Add items.
Right, exactly. So let's just see what happens if we just call like refresh or something on here, and see what we get if we do that. If that makes it a little happier. Still, no. Why is that? There must be some caching going on in the background in the list box, so it's not updating. It's not calling toString again and again and again.
Okay, Jeremy Irvin is suggesting that we're changing the backing object, not the list item.
Well, here, look. This is the selected item as SuperView. We're getting that item right there. So, so maybe we're thinking you want to get so. Yeah, and what I'm thinking is that the text that's displayed there is, yeah, there's a couple ways around this. The problem is the way that I want to work is not working. So I'm a little bit frustrated by that. So SuperView is now SuperView. That says new name because the other one is selected. It says new name, and now it's equal to SE refresh. Let me just take the breakpoint off of here. Yeah, because I have the first one here. So we'll call this one first. We'll call this one second, like that. And yeah, I don't think that's the problem. Let's say one breakpoint right here, and I'll just put a space here. And so the SuperView, well, they're there, null there. There it is. It's second. Yeah. So when we were looking inside of the list views there, you could actually see the items that with the actual names there. Let's see here, entries. Can we look inside of here? There, the name is first there, so you see it there. So these items and their names are there, right? The toString should work. What I suspect is happening with the list box is that it's caching the names and in some other location. What I'm thinking, like here's the workaround that I'm thinking. That is the let's see here, that we can go around that I don't like very much, but it's basically to remove all the items from the list and then add them back in again. So let's do that. So we'll say listViews dot items do that, and then we'll say listView dot what is it dot items dot clear. And we can add them back in. I hate this because this is like, this is not going to preserve the selected item, so we'll have to do that as well. It doesn't like it, I can't assign them here. All right, so we'll have to do a for each inside of this. Okay. And then let's just do this and see if this works. That did not work. No reference exception. Text change. Where's our no ref? Oh, is that because I started from, I think it's because I did this, I started it from here. And then I called clear, of course, great.
So we can't. Clear isn't disposing them, actually killing them off even though.
No, this was null, I checked it, this was null. The problem was I didn't set the execution back to this point. So we will have to now create a view here. So we'll call this first. So each time I'm changing that should totally be adding it in there. What's going on here? Now maybe let's see what's happening. So let's do save current view, type in F. All right, so here we have the saved items, clear. Now is this down to 0? It is, oh you're right, so the clear from one clears the other. Okay, so I need to copy these over. What do I have here? Copy to. Yeah, you see how painful this is? I'm like...
Yeah, this is going to get kind of weird because each character is going to clear the box and then you're going to have to set the selected item back again so that the second character applies to the same item.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way to do this.
Mark, can we have a quick look at the toString that we generated? Is it possible that we got something slightly wrong there?
Yeah, I'm happy to look at that. It's that. Yeah, I don't think there's a problem. I don't think there's that. There's something fundamentally I'm not understanding about the list box, I think, and it's just like my
yeah.
We're seeing results of this, Rory, when we bring it up in the
it's just that it's always unnamed when it comes back to it. So I wonder if it always thinks.
No, it's not always. It's not always unnamed. It's just the first time. It is. It is. When I was drilling through inside of here, we were able to actually see when we saw the items in there. We were able to see them, and that we saw the names. We saw first and we saw second.
That's true.
Remember that? Okay, so let's see. Copy to destination, and let's see if this works now. We'll do this instead and see if that works. So let's come up here, set next statement. So it says there's nothing in there right now. The count is 0. Okay. All right, so let's save the current view, FI now. And yeah, how painful is this? This is like, there's my one object in there. We cleared that object, Destination still has that, and now it's adding it. I think this is going to work. Let's run it, and I'm, oh, come on. If I R,
so stick a breakpoint in the toString, and then hit a key and see is it calling again to get the fresh.
Okay, well, we can do that. I think that the problem is around, is not here though. I don't think the problem is there. I think the we'll set a breakpoint in here too, and let's run it one more time. Isn't this amazing? So I've spent 17 minutes on this crazy problem, getting the list box to update itself, and everything else was rocking up until that.
So what you're saying is DX core easy, WinForms not so much.
Yeah, maybe. I have a feeling there's an easy way to do it. I'm just like clueless on it right now. You might want to do a Google search out there for updating the put toString listbox C# and .NET or something like that in the search and see what you get while we step through this. So here we have destination. It says it's unnamed. So SuperView is null. Oh, because there's no selected item. Okay, hold on. I think this may still work. Hold on. I didn't have a selected item, so let's do it again. Select it. Now type in T. There we go. Okay. So it works, but this is like one of the worst hacks ever written in the history of programming. Right? Absolutely. But now we have save current view, so we have first. And now let's go and we'll close this up, and we'll go grab second, and let's do this. Let's view this. We'll grab these pieces right up here, the code there, and get memory lab. So we've got those three right here, and we'll just we'll select the class names and all of these right here. Whoops, pop that out. So, all right, so we have some interesting things to work on for next time. One of the things I want to work on is order, see if we can affect the order there. The other thing I want to do is I want to work on the, here, let me save this again. Let's select that. We're going to call this now second. Ooh, but it deselects it after every time. Yeah, hold on, let's fix that. Yeah, I would love to know what the right way to do this is. So this is the selected item, and let's come down in here and we're going to say like that. Okay? And what's it not liking here? I can't assign selected index. Why? Gets or sets. So what's wrong? Oh, equals, double equals.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Are you going to suffer from off by one error there? The count always being greater because there's a zero-based index.
You are correct. You're correct. Yeah, I was thinking about so many other things. All right. So let's set a breakpoint there, make sure we're hitting it. We did not. Let's select that, type in O. Now we're hitting it. Let's keep running. Let's see what happens. Second. It's as if it's worked like it's designed to now. Oh, the other thing I need to do is when one is selected, I need to update the name too. Let's fix that too so it at least is working in a somewhat sensical way. All right, there's the selected click right there. And wait, that's delete. Where's the click? Selected index change. Here's what we want to do here. Okay, so let's come in here, boom, click that. Let's take that, move this up. And do you want to say something, Rory?
I was just thinking, wouldn't it be nice if we had perhaps a WPF tool window, and then we could just hook all this up with dependency properties and just let the system deal with the harassment?
Yeah, that would be, I would take that as an option, an alternate way out of there. Okay, so SuperView is not equal to null. Then what we want to do is we want to say text Oh, shoot, I didn't rename it. Textbox1.text equals SuperView.name. Okay. Oh, and the other thing, that's going to trigger a text change, which is going to go with this. That's going to be a little ugly. So let me just kill it for a second. And what I want to do is something like this. I want to say changing internally. I needed to add a field, so that's why I had to kill it. Equals true. And let's declare that field. And then we want to come down in here. We want to do a try finally and set it to false. And then we want to come down here, and on our text change, we want to say if changing internally, then return. Okay. And now let's do one more thing. Let's go out and get the, let's go get my new, hold on. What's going on over here? I've got Microsoft, oh, the help viewer is blocking. All right, so let's come over here. Here's my, whoops. Here's my, my heart. Let's, I don't know, I'm going to just do this and see if this is any better and put that out as a PNG. Let's actually try maybe a bitmap and see if a Windows bitmap and see if that works any better. Windows, where's my Windows bitmap on? There it is right there. What's XBM though? No, that's not what I want. EMP, there it is right there. All right, so we'll call this .bmp. All right, let's now see if that works. Oops,
so I found an example on Stack Overflow of somebody asking a very similar question about how changing the underlying object does not appear to reflect the text into the list item, or the list items in the list view. Yeah. And the highest rated answer in this particular case asks, do the objects in the list box implement iNotify property changed? And it goes on to suggest that there are various things you can do to make the whole system aware.
That's what's needed, huh? And that's in no, wait, iProperty notified change, I think. Is it that? Oh, come on, what is it? Is that it? iProperty notified change?
Past tense, so there's a D missing, if this question is, or this answer is correct.
iProperty notified change.
Perhaps there's a namespace for it.
System.component model, I think, is where it is. Interesting that we don't have a reference to that. We don't. All right. Let's try that since we are like.
I'll throw the link into the chat there, and it links further to a tutorial and what have you.
Shoot.
It still seems to me a little bit cumbersome.
Okay. Massive complaint about the UI here. I can't see which one of these is system. Oh, there it is right there. Composition, system dot. Wait, where's the system dot component model?
It's not necessarily alphabetically sorted.
Yeah, I know. It's still loading it
later on.
But I hate that it doesn't let me change these at all while it's bringing them in. Right,
it just takes so long to load, doesn't it?
Come on,
eventually
guys.
You should be able to sort.
I would think for sure that they would preload system component model. The thing is I could type this in. It's crazy. It's like, do you really need to load all these others if I know what I want? I'm like, so want to kick some ass right now. All right, so are we done? Oh, we're done. All right, system.component model. And there's really no just straight out component model. So I wonder if it's in one of these two. What's the what is the, you got the link for me there? Is that what it is?
I've thrown the original link into the chat room, and the second comment on the first answer links further to a code project tutorial. I can't see any namespacing or references, however.
All right, so here we go. Where are you? I notify property changed. System.component model, which is where? in system.dll, then why isn't it getting it when I don't understand. It's right there. iProperty notified change. Did I spell it wrong? Ah! I did spell it wrong. Okay. It's I notified property changed. All right. So why aren't you finding it? Oh, now because I don't have system.component model. There we go. So I had iProperty notified changed is what I had. I had it the wrong way. All right. So sorry about that. Okay. So let's implement it. Let's see if this does it right here. Property changed. Then we want to change this to say, let's create a backing store on that. Come here, say introduce setter guard clause, and now here we want to say property changed name. So really, is that going to work? Oh, wait, what does it take? It takes, okay, sorry. This, comma, new property changed event args, which now takes in name like that. So is this really going to work, I wonder? So does that mean the list view says, oh, it implements iNotify property changed, and so anytime anything changes on it, it's going to go in and refresh. It's going to come in and call toString, I think is what it's going to do. So let's take the crap we wrote on the other side of this thing, on the text change. What we really want to do is just be this, let's get rid of this, and this, and this, and all of this. Yeah, this will be an interesting learning experience for me if this works. And if it does, we'll clean all that up. So the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to grab the other icon that I had. Whoops, there it is there. Let's see if my new icon with a different background is going to be any better. And if that fails, we'll work on that. We'll figure out what's going on. So I don't want this anymore. How do I get rid of that? Like, yes, I can't. Okay. So right-click delete. There's not. Interesting. So we're going to try the heart and see what happens with the heart on that. See if that works. And let's run it. All right. So so for everybody bearing with us, and so it's like a little bit crazy going in here, getting through this, but we'll get towards a wrap up here after we do this next part, and we'll talk about what we're going to do in part 2 of this. Yeah, it's like that's the thing with doing this live coding, Rory, is every once in a while you get into like this it's half the time it's like really exciting, and half the time it's like not as exciting. All right, so let's drop it down in here. Still no icon, so we have to look at the icon there and see what's going on with the icon. Let's save the current view. Let's come up here, give it a new name. I'm typing in new name, and that is not working. iProperty notified changed is not working. Let's look at, let's set some breakpoints and just see what's going on there, and just to see that at the very least that name is coming in here and triggering it like we're expecting it to here at least. New name. No, it's not. So maybe there's the problem. So, oh, because we're not selected. That's why. Okay. Hold on. Let's try one more time. Now with it selected, say new. Now we're triggering it. Hold on. Run it. Come on. Where's my problem here? Object reference. Property change. Oh. Nobody's listening to us yet. Okay. All right, try one more time. Come on. Oh, set next statement. There, run. All right, new. Yeah, not working. So property change. Nobody's listening to property change on this. We're implementing iNotify property change, and nobody is listening to us. That is a little dumb, and I'm not feeling so happy about that. All right. No. So let's talk about what is coming. So between now and then, in fact, probably immediately after we stop, I'm going to figure this out and how to do it the right way. And if not, I'll roll back to the old code that we had. That's step 1. Step 2 is or for next time I want to talk about ordering of these to make sure the order is restored in the same order that we are saving them in. So I definitely want to do that. And then let's see. The next thing, let me show you this. I discovered this in testing, and we'll have to figure out a workaround for this. So let's double-click on some forms and bring them in. So there's one. Bring up the Event Lab and Expression Lab window. So we bring these windows up, and let's save the current view for those. So that's this one down here. Let's delete this one. And now let's close all these windows. Or actually, let's just control-click on this to open them. And so we'll say no, don't save. That opening up, marking as modified it's a Visual Studio thing, I think, on this particular piece when this is open. So interesting. Now what's happening? So I haven't seen this problem before. This is actually new. It feels like we're locked up. Where are we? Doesn't have a name. Okay. So something is seemingly happening in here. Let's do another breakpoint and see if we can find more information. Yeah, okay. So so at this point, I guess it looks like we're locked up here, and I'm not sure why. I think that but there is a problem with regards to restoring the views themselves if they have associated source code. When I tested this beforehand with similar code, what happened is the view popped up, and I'm sorry, the text document associated with it was open, not the actual designer. So for example, this was the save file. This would be what we would see when we went to restore it. So we have to make it so that this view becomes active, and we have to save that part as well. So we'll save those things for next time. So with that, I'm going to pass it back over to Amanda, and we will adjourn for this time, and we'll pick this up in a week from now.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark and Rory. All right. So, and you have no idea what you're doing next week, right? Are you waiting on suggestions from people? Or?
We're going to do part 2 of this is what we're going to do. We'll finish this and get it to a point where it is useful and working and functional as expected.
Awesome. All right, so we have a whole lineup of webinars posted currently for the months of June and into July. You can check them out and register at devexpress.com/webinars. We have one more webinar this week, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. DevExpress welcomes XNA MVP Chris G. Williams. He's presenting the first in a series of webinars, an introduction to Windows Phone 7 development with Silverlight and XNA. This webinar starts off with a basic overview of Windows Phone development, covering what you need, where to get it, and how to use it. And then Chris will create a starter project in XNA and again in Silverlight and discuss what you get in each. The Windows Phone emulator will also be discussed. So that's the final webinar for this week. And again, if you missed anything from this webinar or you want to review previous webinars, visit us on the DevExpress channel at tv.devexpress.com. All right, again, thanks to Mark and Rory. Thank you all for joining us, and thanks for choosing DevExpress.
And I'm just going to say this before we go, Rory. I didn't check the questions, make sure we'd answered all the questions. Are we good there?
Yeah, we answered most of the questions. There was one quick one about are we planning to persist the dock position of the documents? So like when you sort of dock them left and right and things like that. Most other questions were attempts to aid us in our list issues.
and I appreciate that. Okay, so hold on a second. The question is what? The docking?
So when you rip a tab off.
Oh, that. Yeah, is it docked or not? That we might be able to do. That's a great question. Let's look at solving that.
To the left and to the right, because you can make a double pane that way if you drag towards the center and then dock on the left hand. See the left hand portion
right
of the
here. Oh, I haven't seen that. That's nice. So that's kind of the same thing as doing a move to next tab group, right? And created the horizontal vertical tab group. Well, let's take a look at that too. That would be awesome if we could make that work. Yeah, that's a great question. And so, yeah, we'll see if we can do that. to work with those, we'll, just as a preview to that, I'm pretty sure that information is not in the actual, let's come over here to favorite views. It's not in the actual document itself, but rather the window that represents that. And I don't know, do we have a window? Windows. Oh, interesting. So these are windows for the document. And so this all gets into the low-level GTE stuff, which is the first extensibility engine that came out for Visual Studio. So yeah, we can take a look at that and see if we can restore that. That would be totally awesome, right, to just be able to have all of these different views into the code. So, all right, so that's it. Okay, thanks everybody, and we will see you next week.